Mr. President, I've been listening to these speeches for the last couple of days, 3 days actually, and if you listen to the other side of the aisle, you'd think that Republicans were against college education. I don't think there's a person in America that believes that. You'd also believe that we want to raise the interest rates from 3.4 to 6.8%. There shouldn't be anybody in America that believes that either. We really think that the rates for 1 year ought to stay at the 3 4/10% and maybe beyond that. But the real issue isn't the interest rate. And you can tell that from the speeches that have been given. The real issue is the cost of college. Are we doing anything about the cost of college? No. Does Congress have anything to do besides to debate this particular issue? Evidently not. We're being called to do nothing Congress, but evidently we don't have anything else to do. It'd be possible to go to something else, but instead we had one vote on this. We still weren't given an option for this side of the aisle to put out a vote for their idea. And now we're going to get to vote on that same issue from Tuesday once again, maybe sometime this week, maybe not till next week. Instead, we're going to stay right on this issue, that if we stay at exactly this point in this issue, it will fail again. And then that side can say, oh, those Republicans, they just want to raise interest rates. Not true. But I hope that the American people have noticed that any bill that goes directly from the President to Harry Reid to the floor doesn't pass. A bill that goes to committee, regardless of where the source is, has a chance of a bipartisan solution. I'm the ranking member on the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, and we have a user fee bill that passed nearly unanimously out of committee. And we have the support of the stakeholders, we have the support of the companies, we have the support of the Republicans and Democrats, and we've even talked to the House people about it. That's a bill that ought to make it through here pretty quickly. And I suspect that it will. And when it does, I'll bet you don't hear any comment about it, because that would make us look like a do-something Congress, which is what we ought to be doing. You can't tell me that this is the only issue that needs anything done. But we're going to spend a whole week on this issue when both sides agree that it ought to be at 3 4/10%. What we're disagreeing on is how we pay for it. And I got to tell you that the real answer isn't either side's answer. But it could be worked out if it went to committee. Now, I was told that this was going to be a bipartisan, jointly discussed issue just before we left for the recess. Then this bill was put forward and no further conversation was allowed on it. Our committee was left out of it, and we bring it to the floor where they say, oh, we'll have a fair and open debate. Yeah, look at this. There are two of us on the floor and he's waiting to speak. He's not listening to what I'm saying. And there isn't anybody else listening to what I'm saying. Well, they might be back watching the television and picking it up there, and I certainly hope that they are. But where you get the real discussion is in the committees. Small groups of people intensely interested in the issues that come to those committees. And we work it out. Senator Harkin and I will get amendments a couple of days before the bill's to be marked up in committee to find out what everybody's ideas are for how it ought to be changed. And we sit down and we look through those and we say, well, look at this pile here. They're all pretty much the same amendment, but there are people from both sides of the aisle that are interested in that. So why don't we just get those 4 people or those 2 people or those 5 people together and see if they can't work something out? And you know, it's really surprising. They usually can come up with a few changed words that solve the problem that they're both interested in. That's the way you get things done. That's not the way we're operating.